What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Now before we get started with today's video, the road to 200 subs has now come to a close, and we are now on the road to 500 subs. Who knows? Maybe we might hit 500 subs by the end of the summer. Only time will tell. But as I have said in previous videos, if this channel does get to 500 subs, I will open up this Korean LOB booster box in its entirety on the channel that I got from my partners at Collector Store. So be sure to check them out. Link and address will be in the description below. Excuse me. By checking them out, not only does it support them, it also supports the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. On the hopes to potentially pull a Blue Eyes White Dragon, a Dark Magician, a Red Eyes Black Dragon, a Piece of Exodia, Monster Reborn, Pot of Greed. The possibilities are out there. However, if this channel gets to 1,000 subs, I will open up this first edition Toon Chaos box in its entirety on the channel that I also got from my partners at Collector Store, on the hopes to potentially pull a collector's rare out of this set. But it wouldn't be the first time that I pulled a collector's rare, because I also pulled this. Freshly pulled out of my Genesis Impact box opening that I did last year is a collector's rare Beat Cup from the Underworld. This thing is absolutely beautiful, and yeah, I got pretty lucky with my box, to say the very least. Obviously, the centering on the back is a bit off from top to bottom, but honestly, it really doesn't make much of a damn, because I am going to be getting this graded, but I never came up with a good opportunity to do so. But with that being said, with that being said, if you guys want to see these boxes get opened, maybe you guys want more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue. Maybe you guys want more episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue, deck profiles, card discussions, WWE topic videos, or maybe, just maybe, you guys want some premium live event predictions and results. Well, if you guys want all of that and more, my channel is the place to be. So if you guys are new to the channel, and I know that a lot of you guys are, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, smash that thumbs up button on this video, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And I want you guys to post in the comments below answering the question of the day, which is this: out of every single archetype that we have currently in the meta, which one would you guys like to see get turned into a structure deck? Let me know down in the comments below. And speaking of archetypes, today's video we have another new archetype known as the Raika archetype. So if you guys don't know anything about this archetype, basically it's a mix of plants, insects, and reptiles, and they all basically conjoin with one another. And yeah, there's not much else to say about it, honestly, because we know nothing about this archetype, unfortunately. But this archetype is going to be interesting to talk about. So I'm not gonna waste any time. Let's get straight into it. Kicking these off, we have and these are basically, I believe these are all the OCG names. Yeah, I believe these are all OCG names, unfortunately, because I guess they couldn't find any TCG names, sadly. But this is coming out of Legacy of Destruction, which is pretty cool, given the fact that there are still plenty of other cards that need to be talked about here on the channel. So get ready for those. Those are going to be interesting. But first up, we have Raika no Marikube. That's the first monster. which is a one-star Earth plant with 0 attack and defense, and both of its effects are once per turn. The first effect reads, you can special summon this card from your hand by sending one insect, plant, or reptile monster from your hand to the grave. So basically, it's a good way to unbreak your hand. Just by sending one of your breaks to your graveyard and then just summoning this card right off the bat, which is absolutely insane. The second effect reads if this card is normal or special summon, you can add up to two or your two of your Raika cards with different names that are banished and or in your deck to your hand except this card. Then banish one Raika card from your hand, and you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except insect plant, and reptiles. So basically this is a way to get some of your combo pieces that are in your banished pile. So let's say for example, you're going up against a Kashtira deck. Let's say that. And the deck decided to banish literally 2 of your main combo pieces that you were searching for. You can just literally take those 2 pieces, add them to your hand, and you can just go full combo. Go full combo, and your end board would be like what? Rudy Rose Dragon, Appaloosa for 4 plus Underworld Goddess, and whatever other extra monsters that this archetype has. I mean, that's a pretty good board if you ask me. But we'll just have to see about this archetype, because I know that there's a lot of players out there who love playing with, who love to work with plant-based decks, insect-based decks, oh my god, what's that one? Trap Tricks. Trap Tricks is what I was thinking, and also too, reptile-based decks as well, like the snake deck that we had. Was it the Ogdoadic archetype? Basically that, and also too, Mari Kobe is actually Japanese. And there's like a little note here that says that Mari Kobe is the Japanese word, I guess, for ball head. Nice little history lesson right there. Next up, we have Raika no Yahazu Kamikiri, which is a 3-star light insect with 1500 attack, 0 defense, and both of its effects are once per turn. And I believe, okay, for a sec. Sorry guys, I hit my desk and my camera moved. Let me. There. Sorry guys, I accidentally hit my camera. Anyway, for a second I thought the first effect was the same as Mari Kobe, but I guess not. Anyway, the first effect reads you can special summon this card from your hand by placing one of your banished insect, plant, or reptile monsters on the bottom of the deck. I mean, it's a nice way to it's a really good way to regain resources, which is pretty cool. The second effect reads if this card is sent to the grave as material for the link summon of a Raika monster, you can target one level 4 or lower insect, plant, or reptile monster in your grave except this card and special summon it in defense. It's essentially Monster Reborn, and it's sort of like a combo extender, if you will, which is actually kind of cracked, if you ask me. And there's a little thing underneath that says Yahazu Kamakiri is Japanese for arrow neck longhorned beetle, but it's actually a wordplay on Yahazukiri, a phrase meaning cutting something so fast the enemy won't even notice it. In particular, Brook of One Piece has a special move called Hanauta Sancho Yahazukiri. Yeah, I don't watch One Piece, just so everyone knows. Just so everyone knows, I don't watch One Piece. I know that I used to watch it back in the day, you know, back in its like early stages of Luffy trying to find, you know, trying to find the One Piece or whatever the hell. But yeah, that was about it. After that, I kind of just stopped. Yeah, so I don't watch One Piece. Unfortunately, but again, basically, this card is your combo extender. You're able to just automatically resummon a monster just by using this card as material to link summon and then just go off from there, which is pretty insane. Next up, we have Raika no Yorori Tokaje, which here is what the card looks like. and it's a 4-star dark reptile with 0 attack, 2300 defense, and both of its effects are once per turn. And the first effect reads you can special summon this card from your hand by banishing 1 insect, plant, or reptile monster from your grave. Second effect reads you can discard 1 insect, plant, or reptile monster, then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls except an insect, plant, or reptile monster, return it to the hand. Basically, it's a compulse. So let's recap. Yorori Tokaje has a compulse effect. Yahazu Kamikiri has a Monster Reborn effect, and then Marikobe has a sort of like a different dimension, has a sort of like a really weird like a really weird like burial from a different dimension type of effect, where you're able to add cards instead of sending instead of sending them back to your graveyard, you add them to your hand. So it's like a really weird. Again, it's a really weird like burial from a different dimension, which is kind of cool. Actually, and there's a note underneath that says that Yorori Tokaje is Japanese for armored lizard, written as armored stone dragon, which is pretty cool. Next up, we have the extra deck monster. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 Link monsters, you guys. Yeah, we have 4 Link monsters to talk about, and the first one is Raika no Musha Dokuro, which is a fire plant Link 2 with 1600 attack, and its arrows are bottom left, bottom right. And it requires 2 monsters, including an insect, plant, or reptile monster. And it says that both of its effects are once per turn, and you cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate both effects except plant, insect, and reptiles. The first effect reads: reads, you can target one Raika monster in your grave, special summon it in defense. The second effect reads, if this card is in your grave, you can target one insect, plant, or reptile monster you control, place it on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, special summon this card. So this is a really good way to not only reborn one of your monsters that's in your graveyard, but you're also able to reborn this card from your graveyard just by taking one of your monsters that's already on board, putting it back into the deck on the bottom, and you essentially have yourself as sort of like an endless loop, if you will. So if you were to let's say link climb into into a link 5, let's say that, you can literally end your board depending on how you play it. Depending on, hang on guys, I could have swore I heard something. Anyway, sorry guys, I could have swore I heard something. Anyway, depending on how you play the deck, your end board could be this plus Appaloosa for 4, Unchained Abomination if you decide to add that card to your deck, plus whatever link 5 that this archetype has, which is absolutely insane. Which is absolutely insane. So you essentially, with this link monster, you essentially have yourself a double monster reborn right off the bat, which is absolutely insane. And of course too, Musha Dokuro is Japanese for warrior skeleton. That's kind of cool. Next up we have Raika no Oka Minushi, which is a wind insect link 3 with 2300 attack, and its arrows are left, bottom, right. And it requires 2 or more monsters, including an insect, plant, or reptile monster. And you can only use, and both of the effects are once per turn. The first effect reads, you can banish 2 insect, plant, and or reptile monsters from your grave, and 1 Raika trap from your deck to your hand. Basically, it's Spell and Trap Rhoda, pretty much. Not much else to say about that. The second effect reads, if this card is in your grave, you can target 1 insect, plant, or reptile monster you control, place it on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, special summon this card, and you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except insect, plant, and reptile monsters. So again, as I said, depending on how you build this deck, and depending on what your extra looks like, the end board that I talked about could potentially be your main end board, but you're gonna end up also using the Trap Tricks link monsters. You're gonna end up using Crossroads Dragon, which is essentially a which is part of the plant based strategies as well. So it's looking to be quite the interesting archetype. But anyway, there's a note underneath that says Oka Minushi is a wordplay on Okamikiri, a type of longhorned beetle, plus Okuninushi no Kame, one of the most important Shinto kame of Japanese mythology. Nice little history lesson over here, you guys. Who would have ever guessed? Who would have ever guessed? But next up, we have, scrolling down, we have Raika no Kusarigami, I believe is how it's pronounced. which is a fire reptile link 4 with 2900 attack, and its arrows are bottom left, bottom right, right, and requires 2 or more monsters, including an insect, plant, or reptile monster. And you can only and both of its effects are once per turn. The first effect reads if your opponent activates a monster effect, you can make both players unable to activate monster effects in the hand for the rest of this turn. Basically, excuse me, this is essentially Mind Drain on steroids, pretty much. And if you guys are curious about the card Mind Drain, it's a continuous trap that has the effects of Skill Drain, but unlike Skill Drain, where it focuses on monsters on the field, Mind Drain focuses on monsters in the hand. Where as opposed to Soul Drain focuses on monsters in the graveyard. So let's say you were to build a deck that had nothing but that had just a bunch of floodgates, like say Eldritch. Let's say that. As a random example, if you were to have one of all three on board, your opponent would be able to do nothing, just nothing, and the only thing that they would be able to do is just normal summon, reborn a monster, link summon IP. That's it. That's all they could do, and if that were to be the case, the only thing that they would have to do is just scoop. That's it, pretty much. So this effect right here is essentially Mind Drain, which is crazy. The second effect reads: if this card is in your grave, you can target one insect, plant, or reptile monster you control, place it on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, special summon this card, and you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except insect, plant, and reptile monsters. Basically, it's Monster Reborn. This card is Monster Reborn, Mind Drain rolled into one. I don't have to say anything else except the fact that you can literally stop your opponent from using Ash Blossom or a card like say Droll and Lockbird, which is mind blowing. No pun intended. Excuse me. There's a note underneath here that says Kusarigame means written as Chained Snake Serpent, which is pretty cool. And now I believe this is the last Link monster. Yeah, the last Link monster is known as Raika no Dioga. Excuse me. I'm probably butchering it, so I do apologize. But it's a Link. It's an Earth Insect Link 5 with 3,300 attack, and its arrows are left, right, bottom left, bottom right. Yeah, and it requires two or more insect, plant, and or reptile monsters, and both of its effects are once per turn. The first effect reads if a monster is special summoned from your opponent's deck and or extra deck, you can destroy 2 monsters on the field. Second effect reads if this card is in your grave, you can target one insect, plant, or reptile monster you control, place it on the bottom of the deck, and special summon this card. Basically the same as the other Link monsters. So let's do a quick recap of these very Link monsters. So Musho Dokuro. So basically, Musho Dokuro's first effect basically is a Monster Reborn, which is pretty crazy. Okami Nushi has a trap has a sort of like a spell and trap Rhoda effect, which is absolutely nuts. Kusarigame has a Mind Drain effect, and then Dioga has a basically a trap hole like effect where you're able to pop Not one monster, but 2 monsters on board, which is pretty insane. Not much else to say about that. There's a note underneath that says that Dioga is a wordplay on ogre kanji, and that the kanji is read as Great Oni Fang. Nice little history lesson right there, you guys. But with that being said, next up we move into the back row. So we have 1, 2. Oh, there's only two cards for the back row. So this will be interesting. So the first one up is Raika Ryoran Kuruisake, which is a continuous spell, and both of its effects, actually the second effect is a once per turn. The first effect reads, all insect, plant, and reptile monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. Also, all of the face-up monsters on the field lose 300 attack and defense. I mean that's not bad. Being able to ensure that your opponent's monsters lose attack, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Plus, in a way, it's kind of like a floodgate of sorts. And you guys know, with continuous spell cards, depending on what they are, they could potentially be floodgates, which is actually kind of crazy. The second effect reads, you can activate one of these effects. Add 1 Raika monster from your deck to your hand, then discard 1 card. Special summon one of your Raika monsters that is banished or in your hand or grave in defense position. Basically, it's either a Dark World Dealings or it's a DDR, Different Dimension Reincarnation, where you're able to special summon a monster from your banish pile or in your grave. But if you don't have any monsters in your banish pile, you can also treat this card as a what is it? Cyber Rev system, basically, which is pretty cool. So in a way, it can be a floodgate, but it's still pretty cool to say the very least. But now we have the last card to talk about. Actually, before we even begin, there was a note underneath that spell that says that the name is that Ryoran Kurisake means blossoming profusely like what flowers do, but instead it's skulls doing that. That's actually kind of bizarre if you ask me. But the last card to talk about is Raika Dairin Kubi Karimai, I believe is how it's pronounced. And it's a normal trap where both of its effects are once per turn. And the first effect reads, target cards your opponent controls up to the number of insect, plant, and reptile link monsters you control with different types, destroy them. Basically, you have yourself a sort of like a Raigeki slash Harpy's Feather Duster. I guess it just depends on what you want to pop the most. Like if you want to pop the back row, then yes, it could be that. Yes, it is it could be a Harpy's Feather Duster. But if you want to pop the front lines, essentially you have yourself a Raigeki, which is pretty cool. The second effect reads, if a face-up plant, insect, and or reptile monster control is destroyed by battle or card effect while this card is in your grave, except the turn it was sent there, you can banish this card, target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it. You essentially have yourself a really bad trap hole, basically. Not much else to say about that. But there's a note underneath that says, Dairin Kubi Karimai means Great Ring Head Hunting Dance. Okay. It's a nice little thing to... Nice little, like, Japanese word lesson, I guess. But honestly, guys, this archetype is actually kind of cool. Not sure if it has the potential to be meta. I think the only way this archetype could be meta is if you implemented this archetype with trap tricks and what, maybe the Ogdoadic archetype, because I know that trap tricks is all plants and insects, where as opposed to the Ogdoadic archetype, it's all reptiles. So you essentially have three different archetypes in one deck. That's actually kind of cool in my honest opinion. But with that being said, guys, that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more card discussions in the future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and follow me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.